One Bitcoin, $1 million. Right now, that sounds like a fantasy invented by people on the internet with laser eyes. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Every prediction about Bitcoin has sounded insane, right up until the moment it happened. $1,000 sounded insane. $10,000 sounded insane. So today, let's take the question seriously. What would actually happen to the world, to governments, to banks, and to you if one Bitcoin became worth $1 million? First, let's understand what we're talking about. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, and around 3 to 4 million of them are lost forever, sitting in landfills and on forgotten hard drives. At $1 million per coin, Bitcoin's total value would be roughly $20 trillion. That is about the size of gold, the oldest store of value humanity has. It's more than the entire economy of the European Union produces in a year. One single Bitcoin would buy you a house in most countries. The Satoshi, the smallest unit of Bitcoin, would finally be worth a full cent. Your morning coffee? About 400 sats. In this world, nobody talks about whole Bitcoins anymore, just like nobody pays in gold bars. But how would we even get there? $1 million Bitcoin doesn't appear out of nowhere. It would mean that something big has changed. Maybe pension funds and insurance companies, who manage over $50 trillion, moved just a few % of it into Bitcoin. Maybe more governments followed El Salvador and started holding it in their national reserves. Or maybe, and this is the dark path, people fled into Bitcoin because their own money was collapsing. $1 million Bitcoin could be a sign of incredible adoption, or a symptom of a world in serious trouble, probably both at once. Now the fun part. Who gets rich? Anyone holding just one Bitcoin would be a millionaire. That sounds democratic, but it isn't. Around 2% of wallets control over 90% of all Bitcoin. $1 million Bitcoin would create the fastest wealth transfer in human history, minting thousands of new millionaires and a handful of trillion-dollar fortunes. Early believers, some of them teenagers who bought coins for pizza money, would suddenly out-earn entire corporations. And the person or group called Satoshi Nakamoto? Their untouched 1 million coins would be worth $1 trillion. The richest entity on Earth might be a ghost. But here's where it gets serious. Money is power, and governments don't give up power quietly. $1 million Bitcoin means trillions of dollars that no central bank controls, no government can print, and no border can stop. Some countries would embrace it, taxing it, mining it, building their economies around it. Others would fight it with bans, strict regulations, and their own state-controlled digital currencies. Banks would face an identity crisis. Why pay fees to an institution that closes at 5 p.m. when your money lives on a network that never sleeps? They wouldn't disappear, but they would have to transform into something new. The financial map of the world would be redrawn, and the winners would be the countries that adapted early. And what about you? Surprisingly, daily life might look almost normal. You'd still get paid, buy groceries, and complain about prices. But under the surface, things would change. Saving money could become powerful again because a fixed supply currency tends to gain value over time instead of losing it. Your savings account would stop being a slowly leaking bucket. On the flip side, loans and mortgages would work very differently when money itself gets more valuable every year. Spending today versus saving for tomorrow becomes a real decision again. Some economists think that's healthy. Others think it could freeze entire economies. Honestly, nobody knows for sure because we've never lived in that world. Before you remortgage your house, a reality check. The road to 1 million would not be a smooth line. It would mean crashes of 50, 60, even 80% along the way, wiping out everyone who borrowed money to bet on it. Scams and hacks would explode alongside the price. Early holders would become targets, online and in real life. And a world that needs Bitcoin at $1 million might be a world where a lot of other things went very wrong. Be careful what you wish for. $1 million Bitcoin is not a lottery ticket. It's a signal that the rules of money have changed. So will it happen? Maybe. Maybe not. But here's the bigger picture. For the first time in history, humanity is running a live experiment. Money that no single person controls, with rules everyone can verify, and a supply no one can change. Whether Bitcoin hits $1 million or fades into a footnote, that experiment has already changed how we think about money forever. And the most exciting part? You're not reading about this in a history book. You're living inside the experiment, right now. If you want to know what happens when the last Bitcoin is mined in the year 2014, watch this video next. And tell us in the comments, at 1 million per coin, would you sell or hold?